you discovered, you theorized what gravity was.
Yeah, that's right, 1958.
And then you communicated that through like sending out that theory to...
make write-ups about what gravity was, and also some showing that showing the relationship between electrostatic and magnetic fields.
And that is
the charge is not conserved, and that alone is enough to undermine the whole foundation of physics. That one simple fact.
Yeah, and that's the unifying principle in a sense. Like, I mean, unifying what they were looking for.
I don't know why. Then
the soft particles.
Then later on, this Bill Bryant sort of built a fire under me and started writing a book. So that he actually built a fire under me to start this whole thing.
Who's that?
Bill Bryant.
Oh, Bill Bryant, right.
Yeah. Of course, we broke up in 1980. Started this thing in 77. He was associated with me for 3 years.
I think he was a nuclear engineer, wasn't he? Yeah, Bill Bryant. That's what he had a degree in.
Well, he was I think he's. I don't know what.
I'm not sure he does it for a living. I know he's the author of the book Moongate.
When I knew him, he was working as a
teacher. No.
No. What you call? He wasn't an engineer. It was.
He was in government, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, he was a professional writer of manuals. That's what he was.
Yeah, technical writer.
Technical writer, yeah, like for a magazine or something.
Technical writer. That word.
I think that's.
Right now, I think that's the title of it.
So,
an accountant.
Oh, okay, accountant.
Working as an accountant.
So, Joe, just so you know, just for the record, Joe was saying that gravity rate is produced by electromagnetic radiation with a frequency of...
Roughly about 1 trillion cycles per second. That's about the middle of it. Corresponds to wavelength between 3/10 and 4.3 millimeters.
And that would be like... I was trying to get this thing built in Manitoba, like the University of Manitoba, and they said they couldn't do that, and they need to know how much power and intensity would the beam have to be.
It doesn't have to be very powerful. After all, it's not a very powerful radiation the Earth is sending out, is it?
No, very weak, very weak.
Yeah.
And so hopefully when I go back to Manitoba, I'll see if I can convince these people. In your book, you also mentioned that there was a guy who was hounded after he produced gravity using mechanical oscillators.
Fred Lawless, that was back in the 70s.
Is he still alive, Fred Lawless?
I don't think so. He was pretty old he was older than I am.
He said he was electronics genius, eh?
Yeah.
How would you build something like he built there?
He built a high-frequency oscillator that did the job.
Was it that hard to build?
I don't know how he built the thing. I didn't.
That's what these universities would be doing. That's what the government would be using.
They don't want them to do this. They want to discourage them this kind of experiment throughout the street.
Yeah.
But back in 1958, they tried every which way to find out how I figured all that out. They used my brother as a go-between. He wanted to know how I knew those were the frequencies. I didn't tell him. I decided to let him.
And the way you did is you theorized between the infrared and the radar bouncing off and the infrared being...
somewhere in between that, the infrared and the radar is right in between there.
And that's because the radar bounces off the infrared.
My book where I show that...
the graph?
Why that particular frequency range produces gravity.
Yeah.
It's right there in the book.
Okay.
The graph I drew showing you.
Yeah. Like infrared's the most penetrating, goes through basically anything that's heat.
It's more penetrating than that. Of course, I gave the reasons for it.
Yeah.
It has to be in that range. It has to be somewhere in that vicinity.
And how did you come about the thing that it is actually an electromagnetic radiation?
Well, that's quite a long story. I'll go into that. Let it go what I said in the book. That's adequate for the whole.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Okay. You weren't given a hint that was where it was for you.
Well, let's say this goes into something else that has to do with my mission here. Certain beings that present me with certain facts and my ability to recognize these things and take advantage of it.
And Joe mentions in the book, stuff like levitating beams just can't exist if gravity isn't like a beam of light. I mean, if aliens can, people can pull people up with beams of light, that's not really light, as we know it. That is like a beam of gravity.
Yeah, gravity repels negative charges and attracts positive charges.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can mention it on the tape, but what is your mission?
Well, I came here for two main reasons: to clean up the planet and to enlighten it. I mentioned too that these things who brought me here are planning to make a takeover in the not too distant future. But this book I told you about, this book of mine, titled "A Good UFO Story," I'm sure Alan used to write it. It goes into these things in a lot more detail. It's more mind-boggling
than the awesome Light Force.
I said the truth is far more amazing than any fiction. This will top any fiction that you ever read. This book, it's all true. It goes into a lot more detail about my life, a lot of my personal life, and so forth.
Have you ever been married?
No.
No. I mean, you've been basically working at this stuff for your whole life. Basically, when you're just 20 years old, you've been working at this stuff.
Well, I was thinking about a lot of these things, but I didn't really start going at it in earnest until late 50s.
She would have been 40 or so there, or 40?
Yeah.
But you knew you had the mission, something.
Oh yeah, I've had steers tell me about it. The fact is, I was told well over 40 years ago that I was going to write a book that explains everything. And that's this book.
Ultimate Reality?
Yeah. Yeah, that was predicted about 45 years ago I was told I was going to write that book.
And the unifying principle was bringing together, like Einstein and them were always looking for the unifying principle to link up gravity with like Maxwell's field equations, and you actually by saying that, hey, gravity this is just a kind of a small force produced by electrostatic and magnetic fields.
Yeah, there's only two fields, electrostatic and magnetic. There are no other forces. There's no other forces in nature. There's only two.
Yeah, and basically, it's almost like the universe is made up of ping pong balls in a sense. That it's a little more complicated than that, but the ether particles bombarding.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it's.
Then of course the particles that comprise a unit are more active than the unit itself, just like the atom. And electrons and protons are more active than that. And they in turn are comprised of particles more active than they are. And then you have an infinite regression. So that means that an infinite energy can occupy a finite space. That explains why the universe doesn't run down.
Yeah, that's mind-boggling.
So that's a mind-boggling concept in itself.
Yeah.
So there's cycles within cycles, and of course there's the greatest of all cycles where the universe becomes perfected. Every portion is working in perfect harmony with itself. Then that becomes the fundamental building block of a new universe that will occupy an infinitely greater volume of space and so on. And of course, you're using much infinitely greater units of time to deal with it, you see.
And just so you know.
So couldn't possibly ever be any beginning, So it's been going on. And you have an infinite space in which it is to expand, an infinite space, and you have an infinite energy source here to do it, you see.
It's mind-boggling how. Like I haven't quite grasped the whole hermetic in the back of the book. You have like the hermetic principles.
Yeah. That's a mind-boggling chapter in itself.
Because space just existed.
That's the essence of the whole thing. The whole cosmic picture is right in that chapter.
Yeah. That's.
His idea is introduced in there that's never been introduced before. On my own that I came up with myself.
Yeah, like I remember you saying. As above, so below, that helped you bring about the book.
Right. The hermetic principles, it's all based on hermetic principles.
Yeah. Kind of amazing.
Of course, Hermes himself is one of my embodiments. I was Hermes.
You know how I don't know if you can run through your embodiments, but you were saying you were James Clerk Maxwell.
Yeah, that was been revealed to me. Of course, I was a lot of other things I've enjoyed.
And that wasn't you knowing. People I was seers telling you. That wasn't you knowing that. That was like seers or something.
Well, they found it out. Of course, I knew that also. I don't know how he found it out, but that's just another confirmation. You see.
Oh, okay. But how come when you were Maxwell, you couldn't figure out that the charge?
Well, he later did. Here's the thing.
Oh.
He did. He figured out a lot of what I've already got, but it was too far ahead of his time, so he died prematurely. Yes.
Gotcha.
He did see that towards the end of his life, and of course that's been.
Because that would have been the
hushed up. Yes.
That would have been the clincher because he was they worship his feet.
Yeah, he had this night before he died.
Because all he had to do was say the charge does not stay constant.
Yeah, he began to see all that stuff later on, but and of course it was too late to. And of course it was too far. It wasn't the right time for us. It was just too far ahead of everything else, and the world wasn't ready for it. So there was only one thing. So the higher self just terminated it. That was the end.
Yeah.
But Maxwell already had it figured out.
Gotcha.
He just like in the later part of my life, I learned things that that nullify some of my old ideas.
So, like, let's say most human beings, their soul is, they're like, let's call them Earth children, people of the Earth. When you've always been kind of like a walk-in trying to bring in new technology to the Earth?
Oh, yes, I have, I've always been, my age, I've always been.
You've been here to help. You're not really an Earth child per se.
I mean, I never had any beginning. I've always been these different cycles.
Going on these missions now, like trying to help.
I've been doing that during eternities.
You don't remember those per se, though, eh?
Oh, no, but that's the thing to do for me.
Be hard to, you have to stay focused on a mission.
See, I've enjoyed preeminence in every line of endeavor.
You know what?
What I wanted to do is, if you read that book carefully, you can deduce what 3 of my other lives were.
Okay, I need to read a little bit more.
What is said in that section about the mad monk, what was said in that. And then from that you can deduce what 3 other embodiments were.
Okay, I'll reread that section.
Yeah.
Hey, just so you know, when I was in university, I redid that Cavendish experiment, where you have the steel balls and you see if the little balls measure the big G.
Yeah.
And what we did is we heated up those balls, and the gravity, the curve normally is like a harmonic like this.
Yeah.
And it curved downwards, meaning that the gravity was high at the beginning with it. As the balls cooled off during
the gravity
drop.
Showing that you're producing more gravity
when it was hotter.
Radiation, you see, because the higher.
And then what we did to Joe is we cooled the balls, and we got the exact curve going the opposite way.
Yeah, so the gravity got less. See?
Yeah.
You cool down to absolute zero, there's more gravity between the two.
Yeah.
Of course, that alone not destroys conventional physics.
And you know what? My professor, he said, it's probably, he said, when we first heated up the balls, he goes, that's interesting. Let's see if we get the exact opposite effect if we cool the balls. And then maybe we'll have something. So we got the exact opposite effect. And goes, it's probably just convection currents.
That's a bunch of garbage.
The true test would have been if he would have said, if this is convection currents, let's eliminate the air.
Yeah,
and do it.
Take the air out.
And then we'll see.
The same thing. And then
but we couldn't. He wasn't interested in going any further.
He didn't want to because it would pull the props out. That was his own.
Yeah.
He didn't want to know.
No, he didn't want to know, and he wanted you know, he is actually a bad scientist for not.
That's right. There's no first-rate scientist in the academic field. There's not one.